Tonight on Joy News Prime, Nigerian delegation hold discussions with President Akufo-Addo with a view to ending the decades-long trade feud with Ghana.
Possible at all to please look again at the issues as far as the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act.
Ghana Health Service Director General justifies $150 fee charged passengers arriving at the Kotoka International Airport, explaining it's a good bargain considering the accuracy and speed it affords.
Using PCR and they are charging, I hear Egypt is $30, some are $75. You need to go to your hotel for a day or two to wait for your results. And so you have to put all that in the cost. And for someone, a new equipment like that, we expect that the cost build-up is not going to be easy.
Meanwhile, 4 more COVID-19 related deaths have been registered by the Ghana Health Service despite a significant decline in the country's active case count to less than 900. National House of Chiefs President wades into a Japan mineral royalties deal and expresses reservations about the secrecy shrouded in the arrangement.
I don't see why a national transaction should be shrouded in secrecy in the first place. But more important for me is the attempt to use my name and the National House of Chiefs to grant legitimacy to this transaction.
And in business,
joint committee between Ghana and Nigeria to be considered, especially as they establish a friendship act to put to an end years of retail feud between both countries.
Measures will be adopted to support law-abiding traders to properly regularize their business operations to alleviate the trade challenges occasioned by the alleged closure of the retail store.
On the campaign trail, Vice President Dr. Baamadu Bawumia asked the people of the northern region to reciprocate the restoration of peace to Dagbon by voting massively for President Akufo-Addo.
The Dagbon people, the northern people, and Ghanaians as well are indebted to Nana Akufo-Addo for bringing peace to Dagbon. And once you owe somebody a debt, you should pay. And Nana Dodango Akufo-Addo, inshallah, the people of Dagbon will pay that debt on December 7th.
Former President Mahama, who is in the Upper West region, is scoffing at the NPP administration's implementation of the One Village, One Dam initiative. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The news comes to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Many thanks for choosing us. We start with President of the National House of Chiefs and Agbomefia of Asogli, Togbe Apede, has raised concerns about what he believes is the secrecy shrouding the Japan mineral royalties deal. There have been reports suggesting that Agbomefia of Asogli had given his blessings to the arrangement. Addressing members of the House on the news item attributed to him, Togbe Apede condemned the publication, saying on the contrary, he has concerns about the way the transaction is being handled.
It was titled House of Chiefs Condemn Ethnocentric Comments shared by John Dramani Mahama. Again, most of these publications came with my name, but this one went further to forge the letterhead of the National House of Chiefs. By the time it was dropped by GhanaWeb, it had attracted almost 150 comments. This is extremely mischievous and need to be condemned without any reservation and in no uncertain terms. I, in particular, I'm very much hurt by the attempt to use my name to grant legitimacy to a transaction that has been very widely condemned for its secrecy and for the fact that the company involved, Ejapa, was incorporated in a tax haven. I do not see why desperation will lead anybody who is associated with that transaction to want to use the name of Innocent Togbe Akpete the 14th. I've never commented on these kind of transactions, and I've decided not to comment for good reason. That show disapproval of this transaction. Tax havens typically serve two purposes: helping you to avoid tax or ensure secrecy. I don't see why a national transaction should be shrouded in secrecy in the first place. And if we are trying to avoid tax or minimize tax, whom are we denying tax payment to? The corporation is incorporated in Ghana. Tax will accrue to Ghana, which will be paid by this company that is owned supposedly majority by Ghana. So I do not see why we should be doing that in the first place. But more important for me is the attempt to use my name and the National House of Chiefs to grant legitimacy to this transaction. The National House of Chiefs will issue a statement very shortly to deny that this ever emanated from the House. Meanwhile, we have lodged a report with the police so that the culprits who are perpetrating this can be traced. This is very important, in the run-up to the December 7 elections. People will attempt to use social media to spread all kinds of falsehood. It's indeed very dangerous and should be condemned by all well-meaning Ghanaians. It's not about whether you're NDC or NPP. Democracy must be built on solid foundations of truth. Extremely important.
President Akufo-Addo has been meeting with the Nigerian delegation on the latest impasse between local traders and their foreign counterparts over the GIPC law that bars foreigners from engaging in retail trade. Joy News is learning the Nigerian delegation is asking Ghana to take a second look at the GIPC law. Presidential correspondent Elton Bobri joins me in the studio with more. What more, Elton, can you tell us about the meeting between the president and the Nigerian delegation?
So, Aisha, first, the law in question is the GIPC Law 865, and that says that retail trade is reserved for Ghanaians. Foreigners cannot engage in that. Foreigners who want to engage in this space will have to pay some money, invest some money before you can be allowed to engage in this particular trade. Now, armed with this particular provision, remember that the Ghana Union of Traders Association, they've been embarking on this exercise to rid the retail space of foreigners, and that's, has become a thorny issue between Ghana and Nigeria. So the Nigerian Speaker of the House of Representatives, Olufemi, was in Ghana yesterday. He met with the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament and about 2 hours ago concluded a similar meeting with President Akufo-Addo. He communicated the sentiments of the Nigerian President and the people of Nigeria to the President of the Republic. He mentioned that before meeting President, he met with the Nigerian community in Ghana and pointed out that there's been so much misinformation regarding the provisions in this GIPC law and this application, whether or not the Nigerian traders have any right at all to engage in retail business. Now, there's a GIPC law and there's also an ECOWAS provision on the free movement of people and trade. So there appears to be conflict between the application of these laws. So how do we harmonize the two of them? For the Nigerians, they are of the view that there should be the setting up of a Ghana-Nigeria Business Council to advise on this matter. But for them, they are of the view that Ghana can take a step further to go to Parliament and amend the GIPC Law 865 to ensure that the provision that says that retail business can be the preserve of only Ghanaians can be removed and incorporate into the law the ECOWAS provision. We can listen more to Olufemi, who is the Speaker of Nigerian Representatives.
You cannot talk about Africa without talking about Nigeria, neither can you talk about Africa without talking about Ghana. And it's that strength, that combination of strength that we seek to protect, not just for today, but for tomorrow and for the future moving forward. We've appealed to Parliament that if it's possible at all, and it's an appeal, if it's possible at all, to please look again at the issues as far as the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act is concerned, that they should please do so. If it is not possible, then let us look at ways where the pain can be a little bit reduced, or the difficulties in meeting those expectations as espoused in the law can be reduced. And we've proffered suggestions which we are working on, one of which he did mention was the establishment of a Ghana-Nigeria Business Council backed by legislation on both sides.
In as much as Ghanaians will be wondering why they should incorporate the law of ECOWAS to enable other people from other countries to benefit from what the local people should be benefiting, what was the response from the president?
Well, it's unclear what Ghana's position will be going forward, but President Akufo-Addo was clear that government will look at the proposal advanced by the Nigerian delegation, including a possible review of the GIPC law, so whether Ghana will comply and amend the law to incorporate the ECOWAS Treaty on Free Movement of Trade and People. That's another issue that President Akufo-Addo and his government will now have to sit down and discuss it. But President Akufo-Addo was quite clear that on Monday, he will attend an ECOWAS meeting in Niamey. And he's hoping that he will meet with the Nigerian president to also tell him the response of Ghana. But before that is done, he wants an interministerial committee set up between Ghana and Nigeria to work out a framework that will guide future, discussion on these matters.
I think the way forward, which is really what matters in situations of this nature, the way forward that is being suggested, are all ones that instinctively I find very acceptable. The idea of legislation to promote a Ghana-Nigeria Business Council, some sort, that will have superintendents of trade matters, investment matters between our two countries. It may be that it's long overdue. It may well be long overdue, but it's events that produce institutions and solutions. The time has come for it to be done, and it is, I think, a very worthwhile step that is being taken. I indeed suggested to Mr. President that perhaps it would be a good idea also to set up some sort of joint ministerial committee with ministers on both sides who would be responsible for shepherding Ghana-Nigerian issues and reporting to both presidents at any one time when matters occurred, how they should be resolved. I don't think that is precluded. And I'm hoping that when I see him on Monday in Niamey for the ECOWAS summit, that we can advance those discussions and perhaps come to a final conclusion on the way forward. But there's the way that you yourselves have dealt with the matter is very, very, very satisfactory, and it requires our support. It's the review that you are asking for. Why not? I mean, if that is worth doing from our mutual perspectives, it would make a lot of sense. So you can take it for granted that the request that you've made will be treated seriously.
So a good move, to settle the impasse between the two countries. But what next after the meeting? So after the meeting, they went into a closed-door session. Now, what I picked from my sources, from the Nigerian perspective, they want these matters addressed. Now, the Ghana's position is that even if you want to look at the GIPC law 865, which says that retail is for Ghanaians, there's also a provision which says that if you're a foreigner and you want to undertake similar business in Ghana, you must invest more than $300,000. So there's a law that also protects foreigners who want to play in the retail business. And they are asking that even as you make proposal for us to review it, you must also look at the other side and don't make it look like Nigerians are being targeted unfairly by the Ghanaian traders. This is a conversation we'll be monitoring. From this meeting, we'll be monitoring and checking what comes up after the meeting with the president. Elton Broby is our presidential affairs correspondent. To other stories, police in the Ashanti region have arrested 2 ex-convicts believed to have robbed and killed 2 people in separate robberies in Kumasi and Onwe, close to Ejiso in the Ashanti region. One of the suspects, Kwame Precious, popularly known as Soso, is said to have confessed to robbing and gunning down Mark Minta, the caretaker of Bantama SDA Church, was returning from the bank with church funds. The second suspect, Martin AJ 40, also confessed to killing mobile money vendor Samson Owusu AJ last week at Onwe near Ejiso in the Ashanti region. Nana Ojima was at a news conference by the Ashanti Region Police Command and has filed this report.
The suspects, after committing this heinous crime, went into hiding until this Kwame Precious was arrested upon intelligence. It also mentioned some names, and for some other reasons, we were not able to disclose their names. Also in our custody and assisting us with our investigation, whilst effort is underway to get his accomplices arrested. Precious, this suspect, Kwame Precious, is also an ex-convict. So you can see that in all these serious cases, we tried our best to ensure that those who perpetrated those acts are apprehended. We give credit also to the public, those who gave us information.
The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma-Boadje, is justifying the $150 fee paid at the airport. We'll bring you those details after this break. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma-Boadje, and head of the virology unit at the Unugochi Memorial Institute, Professor William Ampofo, have justified the $150 fee charged arriving passengers at the Kotoka International Airport for COVID-19 tests. It comes even as opposition to the cost of the test grows. Professor William Ampofo explains multiple testing centers had to be set up and more people had to be engaged for the testing.
With regards to the cost, I think it's very, very difficult to sit and estimate the cost. The cost of a test in a hospital, in a lab, is totally different from a cost that is offered as a service by a private provider in circumstances where he's expected to process. If you take a flight that has 300 people, you're expecting to process them within 15, 20, 30 minutes. This means setting up multiple stations, multiple testing stations, having several staff in place. So the cost per test is not a cost of a reagent. If you take even the cost of the machines, let's take PCR. One PCR machine is about $50,000. In order to do the processing before you do the PCR, you can come up with an automatic RNA extraction machine that's about $40,000. Already you're looking at $100,000. Okay? If you're just looking at the machine setup just for PCR. So if you try to put that in multiples, okay, at an airport, you have at least 10 of them. So you multiply that by 100,000, you're already looking at $1 million. Okay? So I'm giving you an analogy between trying to set up a testing system to detect the virus itself and then using a faster method with the latest technology at a more reasonable price. So that's the system that we have in place. I hope I have been able to explain the issue. And we found that the specimens that we take, I mean, your result coming out as negative or positive depends on the quality of the sample that is taken.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabuache, on a spot argues the fee is a great bargain considering the accuracy and the speed it affords.
Generally, what do we want to achieve? We want to achieve a test that is very, very sensitive. That tells you that if you are positive, you are positive. If you are negative, you are negative at the shortest possible time. And to look at that, what you get, the new technology that provides that at a cost. But let me explain to you that where people are using PCR and they are charging, I hear Egypt is $30, some are $75, you will need to go to your hotel for a day or two to wait for your results. And so you have to put all that in the cost. And for someone, a new equipment like that, you expect that the cost build-up is not going to be easy. But even in that, you realize that it's still relatively cheaper. And we've also not had any significant protest from anybody who feels that the cost is expensive. So the cost is more about the value of what we are providing at top speed and high quality, sensitive result that gives you what we all expect. Because the ultimate goal for the country is to ensure that we don't import any new virus into that. All our problems started because everything that came here was imported and it gave us a lot of problems. So,
as final year students complete their WASSCE examinations this Friday, the Director General also states students in schools with recorded cases will have their departure days delayed for assessment of contacts before they are released to go home. Students in schools with no positive cases will, however, be allowed to go home without any delays.
By Friday, the WASSCE will be over, and we are happy that they've been able to successfully go through the exams and without any major disruption. We are expecting that any school that did not experience any case, they can vacate and they all go home. Secondly, any school that has not reported any positive case in the last 2 weeks prior to the closure can also all go home. However, if there's any school where they reported any positive case, we will do some assessment of contacts, and those contacts will have their vacation delayed, assessed before they go home.
Some parents in Kumasi are asking government to reconsider its decision to suspend general reopening of schools until early next year. According to them, their wards are equally exposed to COVID-19 at home as they may be in schools. They're worried about the burden of combining work and taking care of children who are home due to COVID-19 restrictions. Government has lifted restrictions for JHS2 and SHS2 students to go back to school to complete the academic year. Meanwhile, owners of private schools have expressed reservations, saying it won't make business sense to pool resources for only JHS2 students. Nana Sensemensa has more in the following report.
The decision has been taken by the Ghana Education Service after consultation with the relevant stakeholders for SHS2 and JHS2 students to return to school from 5th October to 14th December 2020 to complete their academic year.
So some parents, especially those who have their wards in upper and lower primary schools, are calling on government to include their wards in the new directive that will allow students, especially those in JHS2, to return to campus. Even in the face of COVID-19, they say that their wards are better off on campus than staying home.
This smelly, dirty gutter is a football pitch for these children in Cape Coast. The ban on all contact sports due to the pandemic certainly doesn't matter to them. None of the COVID-19 protocols mean anything to people here. In Kumasi, children are found playing outside with no regard for any of the protocols. Salamatu Mohammed, a mother of 3, is worried.
The school environment will be better. because they are going to learn. And when they are in the house, they don't learn. Even when you force them to learn, they will never learn. So I think school will be better for them. There's COVID-19, but the children are in the house, and there are times they go out to roam about. And being in the school, it will be better because the school will put on measures that will take care of the children.
Dora Opong is a working mother with 2 children. Finding babysitters for her 2 daughters at home is her headache.
Me 85 years.
She says, my 85-year-old mother used to take care of my kids, but now she's not fit. And I spend lots of money to keep my kids safe at home. Meanwhile, the premises of some private schools are empty and facilities continue to gather dust. At Bright Angels Montessori Village, proprietor Nana Osetutu believes reopening early childhood schools would be a relief to both parents and school owners.
5 months to 6 months at home. Additional 4 months to it will cause, a very great gap in the education sector. That is why there is an association of inquiry that states that if a kid stays home for more than 6 months, then it means that everything has to be restarted. So if you look at the economic background, the social background, even the cultural background and the psychological background, you can never do away with opening of a kids school, especially with the early childhood.
At Rock of Ages Preparatory School, preparations are underway to receive JHS2 students. Proprietor Isaac Body says cost of operating the school without the full complement of the other classes places a strain on resources.
Yewo JHS no wamu nyina no no sa it is a teacher for nwotwe enso na ya normal.
The JHS2 students are few, so we can't invest 8 teachers to only teach 20 students.
Kranka media means you can start by saying come JHS for nyina kra no emra and the enkola be dos kakra oteti ya bunya kakra de ama a teacher for no so di ahwe omo abrabo mu.
Animal that we see on this earth has its own habitat and what is responsible.
Proprietor at Wasco School Complex, Benjamin Osuechang, wants government to consider paying salaries of employees as a relief to them.
From our proprietor, the information we are getting is that the finance is on low. So we are pleading the government to come in and help us. I know through that it will motivate us and we will get much confidence to teach the students to be able to pass and write their exams very well.
Ghana has registered 4 more COVID-19 related deaths and 55 new cases despite a significant decline in the number of active cases. The new cases for September 1 brings to 44,713 the number of confirmed cases since March, with 43,577 recoveries and discharge and 280 deaths. The active cases have now dropped below 900 to 856. We'll take a break on Joy News Prime. When we return, there is business and sports.
Hello there, it's time for business with me, Charles Aite. Now, a joint committee between Ghana and Nigeria is to be established to consider a possible Ghana-Nigeria Friendship Act to put to an end decades of retail feud among traders of both countries. Now, this was made known when the speakers of Ghana and Nigeria's parliament issued a joint communique to that effect. Here is a spokesperson of the Nigeria's House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu.
In Ghana, over the closure of shops belonging to foreign nationals, including some Nigerians, in the wake of the enforcement of some provisions of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act 2013, Act 865. Cognizance of the negative impacts that this development could have on the brotherly relation that have existed between our most revered countries in the sub-region, especially coming at the heels of the diplomatic incident questioned by the recent demolition of the property of the High Commission of Nigeria, hereby resolve as follows. That, 1, measures will be adopted to support law-abiding traders to properly regularize their business operations to alleviate the trade challenges occasioned by the alleged closure of the retail stores in view of the ravaging impact of COVID-19 pandemic on businesses and families of both countries. 2, meeting will be held between the Trade and Foreign Affairs Committees of both legislature to deliberate on applications of the trade laws, in particular the GIPC Act 2013 Act 865, and make recommendation for appropriate solutions. 3, a joint committee will be established composed of members of both legislature to expose and explore the possible passage of reciprocal legislations which could be potentially called the Ghana-Nigeria Friendship Act, which shall propose Ghana-Nigeria Business Council.
Telecoms giant MTN says they will explore all available options after an Accra High Court on Tuesday dismissed its application seeking to quash a directive by the NCA to classify it as a significant market player in the telecoms industry. My colleague George Rafi has been going through the statement by MTN and has come through with this report.
According to MTN, despite the concerns raised, it still has full confidence in the country's judiciary. Added that having had their day in court, they would want to refrain from making further statements and comments on the matter at this moment, whilst it looks at the next step available to them. It noted that it acknowledges the duty and powers of the National Communications Authority to promote fair competition among licensed operators in the sector. But however insists that MTN's challenge was on procedural grounds, maintaining that the National Communications Authority's decision lacked fairness. The High Court of Justice Commercial Court Division on September 1 dismissed MTN's application for a judicial review of the declaration of it as a significant market player. Well, it is however not clear for now whether the telecoms giant is going to appeal, even though it has shown some clear signs that it is not satisfied with the ruling. The telecoms giant in its media review noted that the new regulation, if implemented, will significantly affect its profits, growth, and also affect some services that it offers to the public.
And that's it by way of business for this edition. Join me at 8:30 for more business news. In the meantime, sports, it's up next.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. Gary Al Smith here with the sport. In our first story, the chairman of the Ghana Football Association Compensation and Ad hoc Committee, Frederick Moore, has called on members to vote out the current leadership of the association if they fail to meet expectations required of them. According to him, the allowances agreed to be given to them is enough for them to demand more from the Executive Council.
Congress approved allowances for the leadership of the FA, many described as exorbitant. Head of the Compensation Committee, Frederick Moore, who led the proposal of the 12,000 Ghana cedis for President Keto Kreku, 7,000 Ghana cedis for Vice President Mark Addo, and 4,000 Ghana cedis for the rest of the Executive Council, believes the compensation was designed to motivate the leadership to work harder. He said if they fail to meet the standards expected of them, they should be voted out.
For any job that you do, for any role that you play, you're not paid just on your certificate or the fact that you're there, but for the role that you're playing. And that role has to be, for the salary you get, it has to have an accountability. We are looking for effort. You saw the conversation that went on at the budget time where people were saying, the ESCO should work to get surpluses. If you are going to ask people to work to get surpluses, and you're saying, I'm not going to reward you, it's not. Look, you can't have it both ways. We need an ESCO in Ghana. We need a football association in Ghana that can take Ghana to the next level. And if they are rewarded and they don't take Ghana to the next level, then it is incumbent on the rest of us to vote them out.
He also revealed that the committee reached the proposed figures after considering how much other organizations pay their leaders.
In an economy or in the football community, we want our football to be at the next level. There are things that we have to do today to take our football to the next level. If we want to hold our ESCO members and our president to account, that accountability has to be rewarded. So all of those factors were taken into account. Look, we looked at companies that were paying 3-4 times in Ghana here. But we decided that we couldn't. If we did that, the budget or the turnover could not sustain it. We also saw companies that were at the bottom end. And if I tell you the figures that we looked at, those figures were closer to the bottom than to the top.
The Executive Council have promised to improve the standard of football.
Now, the Ghana Football Association has written to Asante Kotoko and Ash Gold to confirm their participation in next season's CAF inter-club competitions. Now, this follows a communique dated the 31st of August from the continent's football governing body to member associations confirming their engagement in next season's Total Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup, respectively.
Per the rules governing CAF inter-club competitions, the last official trophies won by two clubs will represent the country when the next edition of the football season is cancelled. Following the cancellation of the 2019-2020 Ghana football season, it means that Asante Kotoko and Ash Gold, per the regulations of CAF inter-club competitions, they are to represent the country in the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup, respectively. The GFA has written to the two clubs to confirm their availability to participate in the next CAF competitions. In a statement published on the FA website, they said the decision to write to both clubs to confirm their participation in the CAF inter-club competition follows a communique from the continent's football governing body to member associations to confirm their engagement in the 2020-2021 CAF Total Champions League and Confederation Cup, respectively. According to CAF, member associations that did not complete the season 2019-2020 are allowed to enter the same teams qualify from the said association in the last CAF international competition season 2019-2020, taking into consideration the quota of each association according to their ranking. It will be recorded that the GFA Executive Council on Tuesday, June 30, took a decision to select Asante Kotoko and Ashanti Gold to represent Ghana in the next season's competition. This is because Asante Kotoko competed in the 2019 CAF Champions League after winning the NC Tier 1 competition, while Ashanti Gold played in the Confederation Cup as a result of their triumph in the NC Tier 2 competition. Engagement and registration for the 2020-2021 CAF Interclub competition was open on September 1 and will be closed on October 20, 2020. The two teams are expected to confirm their participation for Friday, September 11 this year.
Barring NAH, construction for the multi-purpose youth resource center will be completed by the end of this month. Work on the project was expected to be completed in May this year, but delayed owing to some constructional and administrative challenges. The Deputy Chief Executive Officer in charge of programs and operations is Nelson Osuansa, and he disclosed this when he visited the construction site of whose work rate is pegged at 95%. All right, so we will bring that story later, and that's it for Joy News Prime Sports. I'm Gary Al Smith. We'll be back on the next leg with more.
Showbiz, Becky is here with the very latest. Hi, Becky.
Hello to you, Aisha. How you doing?
What has Kofi Kinata been saying?
Kofi Kinata won the Songwriter of the Year 3 times in a row.
Oh, wow.
He won the Vodafone Song of the Year and also High Life Song of the Year with one song, Things Fall Apart.
He deserves it.
Yeah, so he says that, so? Well, he was actually expecting, he wasn't surprised because a lot of work went into that particular song. And so he's so grateful. I want to be a billionaire, Aisha.
Okay.
Yeah. You see, when
by Tenny?
Tenny sang, I think somebody else in Ghana should Because, Charlie, the thing is, it's something else. Oh.
You mean the song?
Yeah, the song. I mean, when you listen to that song, automatically, I'm sure you become a very big billionaire. Well, what I'm trying,
listening to it,
I'm telling you.
I mean, it actually motivates you.
It motivates you to do more, but I don't know when I'm going to get to that stage of being a billionaire. But Tyler Perry, obviously. I mean, why am I even surprised that he got there? Tyler Perry, he has reached billionaire status. Yes, the filmmaker and philanthropist was named Hollywood's latest member of the widely exclusive club in a recent issue of Forbes, the publication which tracks the wealth of celebrities and business leaders across the globe, revealed in a recent cover story on the director that he's taking in 1.4 billion, Aisha, in pre-tax income since 2005, and is currently worth 1 billion in total. According to Forbes, Perry's investment, Perry's immense wealth is a result of his shrewd business prowess and the fact that he owns 100% of everything he creates. Yes, this includes a bevy of TV series, dozens of films, and multiple successful stage productions.
I'm dropping him a message tonight.
Yeah, so
just to congratulate him.
Listen, Tyler, I don't know. We're down here in Ghana. We're your biggest fans. Please, me and Aisha, we love you. You know, Charlie. Is our time up, or we can congratulate?
You should just give us $1,000.
Yeah, we'll manage it. We'll use it. We'll use it wisely. Tyler, don't do that. Oh,
thank you so much for bringing us showbiz.
Anytime.
For sure. On your election headquarters, we're starting off on the campaign trail as the vice president, flag bearer of the NDC, and his running mates tour different parts of the country to galvanize for votes. In the northern region, Vice President Dr. Bawumia is calling on northerners to reciprocate the gesture of peace the president has restored in Dagbon by voting massively for the NPP. He says the people of Dagbon and northerners are indebted to the president for that singular act. The vice president said this when he paid a courtesy call on the Yana to officially announce the start of his campaign in the region.
Akufo-Addo has essentially, the Dagbon people, the northern people, the Ghanaians as well, are indebted to Nana Akufo-Addo for bringing peace to Dagbon. And once you owe somebody a debt, you should pay. And Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, inshallah, the people of Dagbon will pay that debt on December 7th by voting massively for him and the NDP government. And so I thank you about the future and the need for us to embrace the future. We didn't think John Mahama could be trusted with the free senior high school education. First of all, NBC said it wasn't possible. Then he said if he had 2 billion cedis, he would not spend it on free SHS. So we don't think we can trust him with free SHS. But once we have embraced free SHS, we also know that beyond free SHS, our people need to go to the university. And this is why we are bringing a new student loan scheme to be able to lend money to people who are going for university after free SHS. Once they have their national ID card, they don't need a guarantor. We will provide the loans. They will go, and after national service, they will have a 1-year moratorium before they start repaying the loans. But with the big influx of students into the universities, we are going to need more universities in Ghana. We have talked to UDS, and they are going to build a satellite campus of UDS in Yendi. We are also looking at expanding the veterinary, Tom Tamale Veterinary College into a university for agriculture, and therefore expand university placements in the northern part of Ghana as we look forward in the next few years. So there is a lot that is going on in what we want to do. And one thing that I want to specifically mention for Yendi is that at the National Security Council meeting yesterday, the President agreed that we are going to have an airstrip, a resurfacing of the Yendi airstrip.
The opposition NDC says the lack of progress on investigations into the murder of 28-year-old Silas Willinchame at Banda and the registration of some 66 Ivorians during the voter registration exercise demonstrates government's complicity in the two cases. Banda was the scene of violent clashes during the exercise, claiming one life and several injured 27 days after the incident. The police has yet to make public the outcome of their investigations and prosecution of those involved. Addressing a news conference complemented with videos and what it says are secret recordings of some people in government, the NDC General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketia questioned the transfer of the police divisional commander investigating the case.
Two incidents that have occurred recently, leading to my heightened suspicion that whatever crimes that had been committed during the registration exercise countrywide, and in particular Banda, had happened with President Akufo-Addo's complicity. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, it is instructive to note that after the arrest of the Ivorians at Dobo, they were quickly processed for the Sunyani Circuit Court and quickly granted bail at the insistence of the MPP Regional Women's Organizer, Madam Ama Amponsa, and the case was subsequently adjourned indefinitely. So the elections will be held before the case is called. This group escalated their activities around the landing beach site, using gunshots to threaten the fisher folks from approaching their registration centers in Bongase and other places. The District Police Command in Banda dispatched a team to arrest the two of the perpetrators, namely Sia Kasali and Gaddafi, who were detained at the Banda District Police Headquarters and released minutes later, following what the police claimed to be orders from above. They immediately returned to the landing beach and continued the attacks. This then sparked jubilation on the part of MPP at the registration center, with the claim that because they are in power, they could do anything and get away with it, including murder. This freshly trained teacher who was returning from Wenchi upon a visit to his pastor at Wenchi Methodist Diocese. Unaware of the happenings in the district, he was innocently identified and stabbed in cold blood in the full glare of eyewitnesses by a person identified to be one of the boys arrested and released as the instance of the regional police commander in the earlier Banda Nyire incident. So I decided to stay put, investing my hopes in the EC to conduct the said thorough investigation and for the Ghana Police Service and the Immigration Service to do the right thing by dealing with the culprits according to law. After waiting 27 clear days for action on this urgent matter, very little or no action appears to have been taken by way of serving the cause of justice. Rather, what we have witnessed is a desperate attempt to cover up the perpetrators of these heinous crimes. I'm sure you have heard that the district police commander who dared to arrest even before he was ordered to release has since been transferred. The divisional commander has since been transferred. And in line with the Kaswa incident, the regional commander who called Hawa Kumsin for her statement after the gunshot has also been transferred.
Johnson Asiedu Nketia, who is accusing President Akufo-Addo of supervising lawlessness in the country, is appealing to all Ghanaians and members of the diplomatic corps to join hands with the NDC in demanding justice for victims of the registration exercise.
Ladies and gentlemen, the second is the president's attempt to embark on a campaign of misinformation to cover up these misdeeds. His Excellency has made several statements to commend the peaceful nature of the registration exercise without mentioning a single act of violence during the exercise, including that perpetrated by his own appointees, which led to the killing of 2 innocent Ghanaians. On his recent tour of the Volta region, instead of using the opportunity to apologize for his unwarranted ethnic discrimination against the Voltarians, he claimed ignorance of all the bad things enumerated above and stated rather shamelessly that he has no evil agenda against the Voltarians. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the 21st century Ghana under President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the NDC would like to appeal to all peace-loving Ghanaians to join the fight for justice for innocent Silas Wulo Chame, who was brutally murdered by the MPP holdrums, and impress upon the President and the Electoral Commission to walk their talk by reading the new voters register of the 66 Ivorians who were surreptitiously brought in by the MPP parliamentary candidate in Banda to register and punish severely all the perpetrators involved. Let me use this opportunity to invite the international community and to impress upon Nana Akufo-Addo's government and the relevant state institutions mentioned in the leak tape to take immediate steps to abandon any grand agenda of collusion with the MPP to perpetrate violence, intimidation, and injustice on the people of this country, whose only offense is to insist on their right of self-determination.
In a related development, the chief of Bongase in the Banda district of the Bono region, Nana Haya Bosom II, has tonight revealed that persons who caused the violence in Banda and Bongase during the voter registration exercise are not natives of the area. Nana Haya Bosom is also challenging suggestions some persons who sought to register were foreigners simply because they spoke a different language.
These two parties should understand. No foreigner will come to Bongase to come and register. No foreigner will come to Bongase to come and register. Maybe what they will be calling foreign is the language barrier. I can't speak Ewe. Banda is not a hostile area. We love people. We like people. If the indigenous will tell you the truth, the things which were going on during the registration era were people being hid outside the community. We are here. If the people were within here, like still it will continue. But because they came from outside, when you came in, they are still, the young boys are moving. So please, the parties bringing in people to disrupt the peace here, we are pleading with them. We are pleading with them. During the registration time, I came in, I talked to the commander here that nothing will happen. We are peace loving. We will fight among ourselves. But those who were following them, the MPP, the NDC, who came in here, came in to fight. The community go around, nobody fight.
Nana Haya Bosom has also offered to provide lands to some fisher folks who were accused of being Ivorians and prevented them from participating in the just-ended exercise. Thus, he says, will aid their relocation to the main Bongase community after they refused to leave the forest reserve, which is also the buffer zone of the Bui Dam. Speaking to Joy News' Seram Abladi Souza in a yet-to-be-aired episode of My Community, Nana Hayabusom II said the surest way to resolve the confusion is for the people to relocate.
My major problem is how to get my people in there to come closer to the community.
Asking the fisher folk?
Yes.
Okay.
Because when they leave the forest, because that place is a reserved area, if they can leave the place, there's a lot of land around here. They can come in, go there and do their fishing, so that jigsaw play that we are having, that there are people coming from Ivory Coast, there are people coming from here, will stop.
Okay,
Because,
so am I then to understand that the chief of this town is willing to give the people who are settled close to the lake, you're willing to give them land in here?
that is 100% because from day one, when they came in, they were welcomed because we don't know anything about. And, you know, we were happy because the children and the community, we don't know how to swim properly because we are not closer to rivers. So we were happy having them here, that if anything of that sort happened and they are closer to us, they will save us. And it has happened a lot. Even the BPA workers, some were having problems. And it is these people who savage us.
Former President John Dramani Mahama has scoffed at the NPP administration's implementation of the One Village, One Dam initiative, describing it as a monumental waste of the taxpayers' money. He says most of the dugouts constructed under the program have no water in them and that the few viable ones could only serve a few cattle. Addressing a deba held in his home at Mangwe in the Wa East District, Mahama stated that the era of juicy promises couched with flowery language is gone, adding that Ghanaians are wide awake and will reject politicians who come to them with such promises. Joy News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam is on the campaign trail with the former president and reports from Bolenge.
Former President John Dramani Mahama rolled out of the Wa municipality and headed to Logo in the Wa East constituency on the second-day campaign tour of the Upper West region. On reaching Boli, located at the outskirts of the Wa municipality, residents of the community blocked the main road and insisted that he address them or they wouldn't allow him to proceed. Due to the rainy, muddy and slippery nature of the ground, his security advised that he addressed the residents from the top of his vehicle, but they wouldn't have any of that. Mr. Mahama finally came down, promised to fix the deplorable road and also upgrade their clinic to the status of a polyclinic should he be re-elected in the December polls. Mr. Mahama after that had the opportunity of continuing the whistle-stop tour and met with the chiefs and people of the local traditional area. He was enskinned as a sub-chief under the skin name Logo Dondolina. Mr. Mahama then moved further north and to Mangwe, where he was enskinned as a Masiamana.
Masiama is an important asset of the Mangwe traditional area, where people used to seek refuge during times of crisis. It is our belief that we are in times of crisis, and we are in times of crisis as a nation, and it is important to go back to Masiama for refuge.
Mr. Mahama stated that the NPP then in opposition came to the people with juicy promises and Ghanaians bought into that. He noted that that era is gone and Ghanaians are wide awake.
Elections are coming. People are going to come with sweet promises again. But this time, Ghanaians are wide awake. We shall not fall to false promises anymore.
know the party we trust. NDC promises and delivers. We will not say what we cannot do. We identify what the felt needs of the people are, and when we promise that when we come, we're going to resolve those issues, that is exactly what we deliver.
He mocked at the implementation of the One Village, One Dam program of the MPP, saying it is a monumental waste of the taxpayers' money.
Dugouts. When the minority went round to inspect the dugouts, in January, February, most of them were dry. There was no water in them. Even a few all the water in the One Village, One Dam. So the One Village, One Dam has been a monumental waste of taxpayers' money. Without dams, under the Ghana Social Opportunity Program, you should go and see the dams we did under GSOP. Massive holding water throughout the year. Good for irrigation purposes.
The former president rounded his tour of the Wa East constituency at Bulegi. Like the people of Logo, they are craving for the creation of a new district out of the current Wa East district to speed up development in the area. Mr. Mahama promised to look into the issue should he be given the nod in the 2020 polls. For the third consecutive time and on the tour, Mr. Mahama was honored by the chiefs and people of the Bulegi traditional area with another chieftaincy title under the skin name Yimalina, meaning Development Chief. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
Here in Accra, in the studio, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many more communities are yet to benefit from government's year of roads promise. One of such communities is Ketekrachi in the Krachi West district of the Oti region. For years now, residents have had to cope with the discomfort of traveling on tricycles on deplorable town roads. They say fixing the road or not will be a key factor to determine their votes in the December polls. Correspondent Peter Seno has been interacting with residents and has filed this report.
The Oti Regional Minister Kwesi Osuebo at a press conference on 3rd January 2020 said Ketekrachi town roads are part of critical roads in the region for which procurement process have been completed.
Several other motor roads in the region have been captured as critical roads, and their procurement processes for construction have been completed. These roads include Rawa Yashikan, Ketekrachi town roads, Damai town roads, and several feeder roads in the region.
6 months on, residents are yet to see any construction work on the town roads. Residents say they have been coping with dusty pothole-ridden, bone-tweaking town roads for years now. Some residents and road users have been speaking to Joy News. The nature of the road disturbs pregnant women anytime we pick them. The engine of the motor also breaks down frequently, and I spend on it. The road is bad. By the time you get to the hospital with a sick person, the condition is worsened.
Before we do hospital, no kana ni pano kwa sabraka. Intiama the runnings I basa.
When the nyakura. And then I say how to say maybe a mami and asa ufo moko eh. The road is bad. It disturbs us as parents and mothers. We are asking government to help fix the road for us. How are the bad roads affecting businesses in this COVID-19 era? Here is Alhaji Abdul Rahman, the owner of this tailoring shop just by the road. His machine, fabrics, and clothes of customers get dusty all the time.
It's not good.
It's not good. But you are a tailor.
Yeah.
How is it affecting you here?
It's affecting me much.
How?
And always dust has been spoiling dresses. When I sew dust, and blue spoil there.
And so how do your customers, do they complain?
They complain a lot. They complain a lot.
And this clothing shop.
See what I'm selling here. In case if any long vehicle pass here right now, you can see that the dust, it will just disturbing us here. And we can't do anything to protect it. We can't go and fetch water to,
pour on the ground.
Yeah, so we are pleading that the government should come and check how our road goes.
Hastings Anani is the president of Karachi Youth Association. He says they are running out of patience, adding fixing the road or not will determine who gets their vote in the December polls.
Whoever is questioning regarding this will tell you that this is one of our major problems. Because when the cars move, what do we see? The whole town is covered with dust. How do you inhale the dust? It gives us a lot of problems. That's why I'm saying it's long overdue. I presume that once it's election year, no doubt they will come to do it. Otherwise, they can envisage the consequences of it.
So your town roads, is it going to play a key role in determining where your direction of voting is?
Really? It's going to determine a key role. It's going to be a key role if my people will reason with me.
Peter Senu for Joy News.
The paramount chief of Kurugu in the West Mamprusi municipality, Kuruna Joseph Suleimana, has declared no electricity, no vote in 9 communities, demanding that an abandoned electricity project in the area be completed. He has warned his people will not participate in the upcoming general elections in December unless government connects the area to the national grid. There's more in the following report.
The project to extend electricity coverage to Kurugu and its environs was awarded under the NDC administration. Indeed, Joy News checks confirmed the project was ongoing till 2016 after the change in government. The chief, Kuruna Joseph Suleimana, says the absence of electricity is adversely affecting development in the area. He says some of the residents walked about 15 to 20 kilometers to access electricity to charge their phones and for other purposes.
So the Bukuma Ampan Zwana Palm Palm Yatinin yet to Maraya to Pabakona and Dogro New TV.
If we have electricity, our women will stop cooking in smoke. We will watch television and get to know what is happening in Accra. But no electricity, and we are still in darkness. Our children will be able to take next steps, and education will improve here.
But Kaduna Sokuru, Busa the Muslim. So
the chief says his people will not vote unless the project is completed. He told Joy News the municipal chief executive has been petitioned to act on the demand before election day.
2016 sa Paul Dema wire.
So I am very worried about the absence of electricity here. The poles and the wires were erected in 2016 and we still don't have lights. After several complaints, they told us the contractor was dead. We don't know the new contractor. No transformers here and poles at Patusi.
Contractor here goes up for there. One pump of bone. I can't help it.
My people and my elders are not happy. So today, I have asked a delegation to go and inform the MC in Walwale our decision not to participate in the upcoming general elections unless they give us light.
For Joy News, Ilyasu Tanko.
Now to COVID-related issues, Burn Survivors Foundation, a local NGO, is calling for special attention to be devoted to victims of severe burns whose livelihoods have been destroyed by COVID-19. The group says many survivors of burns cannot wear face coverings and are exposed to the disease due to their physical deformities. A trip to the homes of some affected persons shows livelihoods have been affected due to COVID-19 restrictions. Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko has more in the following report.
45-year-old Ibrahim is a father of 10 living at Trabuom, a small town in the Achuma-Kwangoma district of Ashanti. He sustained hot liquid burns to his face, hands and body when he opened the bonnet of his overheated vehicle. He underwent 3 surgeries to boost function of his ears and mouth. My car overheated, and when I opened the bonnet to check, the hot liquid splashed over my face and body. I have undergone 3 surgeries on my ears. It is still sore inside. He is able to observe all the COVID-19 protocols with the exception of wearing a face mask due to his deformities. COVID-19 has affected me. The effect of the disease combined with the stigma associated with my injuries is a big challenge. I do observe the hand washing protocol, but I can't wear the face mask. I feel pain when I wear it. Because it is compulsory to wear it and people harass me for not wearing it, I have to stay home. At Nkaria in the Achuma-Nwabieja district of Ashanti, I meet 58-year-old Ejay Bequin. His commercial transport business took a nosedive with the onset of COVID-19. I have not been infected with COVID-19, but the disease has caused my downfall. I'm a professional driver. The COVID-19 restrictions affected the transport industry. I lost my car business as a result. To make matters worse, his son, Jeffrey, 20, sustained severe burns in a fatal accident. Jeffrey cannot wear face masks, he has no ears to support them, and his wounds makes him susceptible to infections, including COVID.
Because of COVID now, I won't,
I cannot wear the face mask. I have no ears to support it. COVID-19 restrictions and the closure of schools collapsed the livelihood of Mamia Mensia 40, also a victim of burns. I was selling books in a school with a government loan, she says. Due to the COVID-19 restrictions and closure of schools, I lost my business and I couldn't pay the loan. Bank officials have been chasing me for their money. If somebody wants to help me, they should help me pay my loan so I can have my peace of mind. Burns victims like Ibrahim, Jeffrey and Amma have no means of livelihood and unable to work actively to support their families. Many of them still need surgery to release contractures caused by burnt tissues to enable them function to feed their families. But the effect of COVID-19 has affected the revenues of benevolent institutions. Dennis Opoku Jemfi is president of the Ghana Burn Survivors Foundation, which has been looking after these victims for some time now.
Some of them are really burned to the level that you see a 3rd degree kind of burn.
and the contractors and everything, doesn't help them at all. So we were in the process of getting help for some of the members, because MTN Foundation has been able to, help us in some of these surgeries. But in this era, all the companies or the corporate entities, some of them are also struggling, and as a result, we are unable to, get this kind of, surgery for them.
He believes manufacturers of PPEs could tailor face masks for victims of burns and others with no ears and other supporting limbs for face masks.
You may see my nose like this, but it's not the normal way, or it's not the normal one that was given by the creator, right? So this is reconstructive. By mine, in a way, it's a bit, okay. But you see others that are worse. It's so exposed. It's so sometimes you can even look through and you see what is down in there. And covering that up present another kind of heating that, makes the person uncomfortable. So when you see people like that, and there's a law to also, insist on them wearing no nose mask, it's uncomfortable for them. And others don't have the ears, like I said. Some of them, they do have everything, but the moment they put that elastic or plastic thing there and they draw them, because it's not the normal thing. If it's reconstructed and you put on that, sometimes gives you challenges. If you don't have it, sometimes puts you challenges. So if we have companies who can come out with another design, another way of making it to suit people like our group members, I'll really appreciate it.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
We're still live on Joy News Prime. We'll take a break. When we return, there is more in business and sports.
And we're back with business with me, Charles Aite. The Ghana Statistical Service has set the second quarter of next year to conduct the much anticipated national census. Now, the census is expected to capture an estimated population of about 30 million Ghanaians. Joy Business Fred Duho engaged the director of the Census and Survey, Abna Oseakoto, and has more in this report.
At the Ghana Statistical Service says her outfit is getting ready to conduct the population and housing census in the first quarter of next year.
Yes, it is going to come on for sure, but not necessarily this 2020 because of COVID-19. So we are planning that it comes off in 2021, God willing. And our preparations are all towards 2021.
2021, which month specifically are we looking at?
Hopefully the second quarter of 2021. But we need the steering committee to affirm the date.
She indicated that online recruitment is currently ongoing and graduates across the country should take advantage and apply. The director of census also said the service is hoping to recruit over 75,000 enumerators to work on the field.
We opened our recruitment platform. It's an online recruitment platform. This was opened earlier in the year, around February 2020. This was basically opened for the enumerators and supervisors. We would require trainers at different levels. We were budgeted for, the government has made provision, but the COVID has come up with its attendant problems, and we need to revise our budget.
Are we looking at a downward revision, or it's going to go up?
The revision will go up because now we have to observe all the COVID protocols. We need to look at having sanitizers.
The state agency is hopeful of meeting its target of counting 30 million citizens with the deployment of technology in this activity. Fred Duho reporting for Joy Business.
Now, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boadjeh, has justified the $150 charge for the compulsory antigen test for air passengers arriving in the country. Now, speaking at a Minister of Information press briefing, Dr. Kumar-Boadjeh explained that the quest for accurate COVID-19 test results accounted for the charge.
Let me explain to you that where people are using PCR and they are charging, I hear Egypt is $30, some are $75, you need to go to your hotel for a day or two to wait for your results. And so you have to put all that in the cost. And for someone, a new equipment like that, you expect that the cost build-up is not going to be easy. But even in that, you realize that it's still relatively cheap. I'll give you an example. Someone wants to know how many people were tested on the first day. We had about 217 or so from 3 flights that came in. There was a group that had even given me a letter requesting that as for them, they have booked for quarantine. They want to go into quarantine. But when they got there, we realized that a significant number of them had done their PCR on arrival. They opted to wait and go back and do the lab, the antigen test, or the virus, which is still a virus test, so that they can go home. Because you can look at the cost benefit. That is really not as exorbitant. So that, and we've also not had any significant protest from anybody who feels that the cost is expensive. So the cost is more about the value of what we are providing at top speed and high quality, sensitive result that gives you what we all expect. Because the ultimate goal for the country is to ensure that we don't import any new virus into that. All our problems started because everything that came here was imported and it gave us a lot of problems. So that is what it is. If you ask a passenger, he's talking about when he got down to when he got out. You fill your declaration form, you go and pay, go and do the test. The test itself takes, once the sample is put in the machine, it takes maximum 12 minutes. But you need to talk about that, including going for your results. And so those who said they spend 30 minutes, that's very, very short, I can assure you, because they have several steps that you have to go through, including going through Port Health to get clear, go to check your, make sure that.
Now, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kyerematen, is making a case for other African countries to adopt steps taken by Ghana to develop the automotive industry. According to him, the country's objective of making locally assembled vehicles the first choice in all government vehicle procurement is a big boost. He believes that this will give confidence to vehicle manufacturers. Mr. Kyerematen was addressing the first Africa Automotive Forum webinar hosted by Deloitte and the Africa Association of Automotive Manufacturers. There is more in this report.
Ghana signed an agreement with Volkswagen to establish an automobile assembling plant in the country to expand presence of the German vehicle manufacturer in Africa during the visit of the German Chancellor Angela Merkel. The move has so far influenced other brands to also establish their presence after government initiated an automotive development policy to give an enabling environment for the vehicle manufacturing industry. Addressing the first African Association of Automotive Manufacturers Forum, Ghana's Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kyerematen, urged other governments to follow the steps of Ghana in attracting more automobile players into the market.
I think from the beginning, spreading your variety beyond one or two models, that's helped to make the government intensify their advocacy. The other thing also is that government procurement becomes a major booster to convince the OEMs about the seriousness of government. And so in Ghana, apart from all the very attractive incentives that are offered in the auto policy, government has recently also directed that all procurement of vehicles using government resources must first go for locally assembled vehicles.
The virtual forum, organized by Automotive Manufacturers Association and Deloitte, is focused on an enabling policy by government in the sector. Chairman of Nissan Group of Africa and President of the African Association of Automotive Manufacturers, Mike Whitfield, believe the future of the automobile industry would depend largely on stakeholders' support.
There are WTO regulations, but I think there's scope for government procurement. In fact, I think South Africa should be making more use of that. I think government officials perhaps should be driving locally separate vehicles. I agree. Or vehicles, say in the future, made in the region within Africa. And I think I just want to reiterate a point made earlier about policy certainty. I think that's absolutely critical. I mean, if you can get trust from the industry and from investors, that's going to provide save you a lot of money with incentives.
Meanwhile, the chief executive of the Association of Automotive Manufacturers, Dave Kofi, has lauded the idea by Ghana to promote incentives for the automobile industry.
Now, crude oil is hovering around $44 a barrel. Here's how trading ended on the commodity market tonight. That's it for business. More news on myjoyonline.com/business, and we can interact with you as well on our various social media platforms at Joy Business GH on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Charles Aite. Coming up is sports. Do stay.
Hello. Welcome to the Sports on Joy News Prime, the second part. That is Gary Al Smith here again. Barring any hitch, construction for the Multipurpose Youth Resource Center will be completed by the end of the month. Work on the project was expected to be completed in May this year, but delayed owing to some construction and administrative challenges. The Deputy Chief Executive Officer in charge of programs and operations is Nelson Osuansa, and he disclosed this when he visited the construction site, where work is pegged at 95% done. Joy News Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam has more from WA.
Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority, NYA, in charge of programs and operations, Nelson Osuansa, as part of his official tour of the Upper West region, interacted with staff working under NYA and also inspected ongoing projects embarked on by the government. One of such projects is the Multipurpose Upper West Youth Resource Center. It is being constructed by Hapke Enterprise Limited. The project was scheduled to be completed in May 2020, but was delayed owing to some constructional and administrative challenges. The NYA Deputy CEO was conducted around the site by the site engineer Adam Asana. Engineer Adam Asana gave an overview of the project.
The center is comprised of 4 stands. We have the media and the VIP stand. We have 3 spectator stands, stand A, B, and C. For stand C, that comprises of the shops. We have 4 shops and male, female washrooms. We are done with the superstructure block work, concrete works. Painting is ongoing. Basically what is left there is external painting and internal painting. And for the painting, we have done first coats for both internal and external. So what's left there is just electrical fittings. The first fixing has been done, second fixing has been done. So it's left with the last fixing. That's for stand C. So we move to stand A, which is comprised of the counseling units and offices. For that one too, it's just left with the electrical fittings. Painting has been done, first coat for both external and internal. And then we move to the VIP stand, which among all the stands has been roofed. Now for the media and the VIP lounges, they have been sealed, which initially wasn't part of the design. So now the consulting architect had to make some improvisations to seal the external roofing as well. You can see behind with the alucobond, which makes the edifice very beautiful.
Nelson Osuansa was not only impressed about the work rate of the contractor, pegged at 95%, but the quality as well.
Particularly with the concrete works that have been done and some of the fittings that have also been done. And I must say that the quality of work is good. The fittings, as you're seeing, the toilets, the doors and the windows, it's quite satisfactory, and we would commend the contractor and his team for a good job done.
He is hopeful that once it is completed, it will serve the needed purpose.
It is supposed to unearth talents. There are many talents in the young people of this country, but they don't have the opportunity to unearth these talents, to grow their talents. And the talents abound in sports and in other areas. So the good news we have for the people of the Upper West and the WA in particular is that this facility goes beyond sports. We have an incubation, a business incubation center here as well. We also have a mentoring and coaching center here. We have the computing center here. And we have other facilities that would all help the young people to grow.
He disclosed that this is the first phase of the project, and once it is completed, the second phase will begin. First phase of the project is expected to be completed at the end of September 2020. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
And as an update to that, earlier today, England announced that actually they have also been paying their women the same as the men since earlier this year. So they were asked why they didn't make the announcement, and they just said that they didn't want to cause a stir and controversy. Plus, of course, COVID was trending at the time. But England are among those countries, and they've been lauded indeed. Right, so that's it for sport for now. I'm Gary Alsmith. Thank you for your time. We have more coming up on myjoyonline.com, including the news that on Saturday, one of Ghana's top musicians will be joining us for the Joy Sports FIFA Face-Off. Details with Hans Mensah under 10:30. Bye-bye.
That's how we wrap up the bulletin tonight. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. PM Express Business Edition is up next. You want to stay with the Joy News channel. Enjoy the rest of our programs.